Earlier this month, we had to do something that no family ever wants to do. Our sweet baby pup, Marty, had reached the end, and we had to make one of the most difficult decisions in our lives, I think.
Really, and losing a pet, truly a member of the family, maybe the first time your family as a whole is grieving. And while as parents, we're going through it, our kids are too. This is something that journalist Meg St-Esprit went through and recently wrote about it as well. And we're so happy that you're here to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because I think what you did for Scary Mommy, your article there, was so relatable. You said that you went through this and totally botched it.
We did, yeah. So we have 4 kids. They're between the ages of 6 and 12, and we had to put our cat down last fall. She was not old. It was unexpected. And, you know, I think we did okay through like the general explaining, but the night that we had to put her down, I stayed home with the kids. They said goodbye. My husband took her to the vet. And he got talked into this big like cremation package with like a paw print and a card.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. It was like such an emotional, like, yes, give my kids whatever they need, you know. So when it came home, my kids were like, what do ashes look like? And I was like, I don't know, let's see. And I thought I was like being real and relatable, and it does not look like in a movie. It looks like a little bag of bones and like claws.
And it was a lot.
It was a lot. And so, but I learned through that, like, we talked, I was like, I didn't know it looked like this. You didn't know it looked like this. And so even through that like bumbling, we just kind of tried to lean into like learning about it together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think right now my biggest thing is how do you move on from it? Because the absence of a pet is so real in your whole life, in your everyday. You don't realize that your schedule truly is tailored around these tiny, tiny little furry members.
Oh yeah, our cat wakes us up at the same time every day.
Every morning.
Our new cat, yeah.
Oh my God, well how nice is that to have a built-in alarm? I would much rather a kitty than my phone. But I will say right now, I'm feeling the guilt of moving past it because I don't know how to, this is luckily the first pet we've ever had to mourn. I don't know how to move past it because the human, we know the steps of grief. With a pet, it's so different.
Well, and it's hard. And like I said, we did get a new cat. We waited about 4 or 5 months, but it brought a lot of joy. And when I was a kid, I remember my parents doing something similar when we lost a dog. But it is hard. Our kids still go back and cry about Zuri. Just 2 days ago, and it's been almost a year. And so kids do. They process kind of in chunks. You know, they'll be sad, then they'll run off and play. And that's normal.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think, again, like every time that grief comes back up, it's another good conversation to have.
Yeah.
One of the other articles you wrote about was in care.com, and you talked to a bunch of different experts, veterinarians, social workers, people can really help in the grieving process. What were some of the things that you learned in that?
I think the biggest thing I learned, which I kind of inversely learned through accidentally showing them the ashes, but is that honesty is really good. You know, we say things like cross the rainbow bridge or put to sleep. Those don't make sense to kids. We know what those mean.
Oh, right. We use gentle terms when talking with other adults, but to kids, yeah.
So the experts really said, you know, be clear. Our pet is suffering. The vet is going to give them a medicine. They won't feel anything. Their body will stop working. They're not going to come back. And we did that, and it seemed to make sense to our kids. And again, it wasn't easy, but I felt like we gave them the tools to kind of understand what was happening.
Right. Absolutely. And I think it's important to kind of process those waves of grief to know that they are going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say, definitely not asking for me, to maybe a family who wants to, you know, keep the memory of their old dog and all the good that they had, but also knows that that void in the house feels very big and you may want to fill it?
I mean, I think that's one of the places where as parents we can just narrate our emotions. Like when we got Archie, I said like, wow, he's such a great kitty. I'm so glad we could give him a home. And like, I do miss Zuri. She had different routines. She was a little more cuddly at first. He's more cuddly now. You know, and just kind of being like, you're not the only ones that have these two feelings of like missing Zuri and loving Archie, and they can both exist.
Yes, two things can be true at the same time.
I'm so glad you brought that up too, because again, like we're going through this as adults too, because they become, you know, we've cared for them for all of these years, even if it's a short period of time. And someone gave me advice once that if you have room in your home and your heart for an animal, even if you've lost one, it's okay to open that door back up.
Absolutely.
And to me, I thought that was such a nice thing to say again when we lost our Zoe and Lucy these past couple of years.
I know, and to explain it to 3 children is just a lot too. But this advice has been so helful. Thank you so much.
Sorry you're going through it, but I'm glad we can all kind of relate about it, you know?
Absolutely.
All right, and if you want more information on this tough topic, if you would like to read Meg's articles, head to our website, kdka.com/talkpittsburgh. We'll link you up.